Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer, food maker, or artisan selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast.
I'm Kat Fields-White.
And I'm Bridget Myers. We're longtime farmers market managers, educators, and consultants.
Today, we're listening as Kat and Bridget and former co-host Justine Marzoni-Mead talk about making your farmers market opening absolutely grand. This episode was recorded and originally broadcast in May of 2022. Enjoy this encore for longtime listeners and helpful information for our newer followers. It's a pleasure to share it with you again now.
Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by Marketing for Markets, the simple online course that helps busy farmers, vendors, and market managers promote their businesses. Learn how to use your time wisely and focus on the right marketing methods for you and your customer base. Listen in and put free, effective tools to work today to increase your foot traffic and your sales. Register now by clicking Marketing for Markets on the online education page at farmersmarketpros.com.
I mean, market managers are just really grateful for any and all tips and tricks and tools that they can get. And so putting it all in one place for you guys is just really great. I think it's going to be amazing. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah, and it's equal parts big picture and nuts and bolts.
That's right.
And it's for market managers and operators and also for vendors and farmers. So we kind of combined it into one course just to make it, because we should all kind of be on the same page about that.
Well, I mean, that's part of the point. That's part of what you teach, is that everybody needs to be working as a team, and all that interaction between a manager's marketing and a farmer's marketing and your food maker's marketing, you put that all together and it exponentially increases the effectiveness.
Yeah, everybody's got to bring their own audience.
That's right. And it's collaborative, then it's just better for everybody. So I'm excited. Oh, I hope everyone likes it. Well, welcome back to our Tent Talk episode today. This week, we are tackling a big topic: how to prep for the grand opening of a new farmers market. And we will say we have a disclaimer for this episode. There's no way we could possibly cover all that goes into launching a new farmers market in one episode of this podcast.
That's another course.
Yeah, that's
Coming soon.
We'll let you know when that course is ready. But we are just hitting the high notes here and covering how to promote and execute a grand opening. So this is just really like tools that we've learned over the years of opening many new farmers markets.
Yeah, and obviously there's so much that goes behind the scenes for this. Like, we can't hold your hand and walk you through like putting in all those permits and all of that stuff. I mean, we could.
Not
right now. Not right now.
Not right now.
Not in one podcast episode.
Right.
That's right. So before we get to what we're talking about today, we've already done the feasibility study and established a strong desire from the community and an appropriate site, and got our staff in line and figured out who's going to work there, what team is going to execute this. And we've lined up the vendors that are participating and confirmed those farmers because, as they say at Farmers Market Coalition, the theme this year, farmers markets don't just happen.
No,
they really
It's
don't.
all intentional. A lot of work. So we've done all that.
Yeah, you got a logo made.
You got a logo made.
You got your permits, got all this stuff.
All that stuff.
Yeah, so we're just talking about once you're ready to go, once it's go time.
That's right. You're on that
First
final
day
stretch.
time. Yep.
You're on the home stretch and you're just building up to day of.
Yeah.
Which is always a really exciting thing and a little bit stressful and anxiety producing because, you know, it's like anytime you give a party, is anybody going to come?
Yeah, exactly. And we usually say, like, even markets that have been open for many years, or, you know, if you're in the middle of your season or if you're year round, thinking about what you would do if you opened a brand new market can also be really helpful, because what you do your first day is what you should kind of be thinking about every time you have a market. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you always wonder, are people going to come? Right. Even if 20,000 people come every day.
Especially if it's a grand opening too. I mean, we're talking about a grand opening, but I would think the opening of a new season every year would the same exact things.
Yeah. Right. We've had a lot of feedback from seasonal market managers that have said it feels the same way. It feels like a grand opening every year. So using these tools for that can apply as well. Yep.
And we operate year-round markets here in San Diego, but this is very top of mind for us. And part of the reason why we're doing this episode is because we just opened a brand new market.
We did.
Yeah, last
month. Well, Kat did. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
I was there.
My mother was there on Mother's Day opening the market, and I was out of town.
And our operations amazing on-site manager, Alicia, was there, and our
Alicia killed it.
New team members that we hired from the same neighborhood where the market is. So,
yeah.
You know, that was actually a clever move. So we've done this recently. despite the fact that a few years ago I said, I'm never opening another market.
Excuse me. Kat has said that 100 times, and it's been 100 markets since she first said that. But you're so good at it. How can you help yourself?
Yeah, you have a gift.
People ask her constantly to open markets, so we had to say yes this time.
I say no to a lot of them.
Yeah.
Got to give me that.
But I am glad we said yes in this neighborhood because we have,
actually, this is a perfect neighborhood. We're excited.
Professional friends there, and the neighborhood was receptive. So choosing the right date for a grand opening, I like your analogy. It's kind of like having kids. You're never really ready. You just got to go for it.
Just got to jump in. So make it happen. It's going to happen now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before you do, decide, the one who doesn't have kids, before you do decide, you do want to look at, when you're considering dates, you want to make sure one, your vendors are going to be ready.
Right.
You want to make sure that your permits are going to be stamped and approved by then.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you might want to look in surrounding area. Is that the same day as a big arts and music festival in another part of town? Or is that the same day as some other big thing going on? Because you want people to turn out. You don't want to choose the same day as another big event.
So we actually opened this particular market that we just did on Mother's Day. And I had a few people ask me, are you sure you want to launch it on Mother's Day? I said, well, you know what? There's this big festival the week before. Actually, our permits wouldn't be ready the week before. We had estimated that 1 week off. There's a big community event going on the following week. And then there's something else up North County, but still it'll pull people the week after that. There's always something going on here.
Yeah.
Mother's Day was actually nice. It gave us a chance to give it a little spin. We gave out special premiums for the moms. And, we made that part of the thing. Let's celebrate your mom. What a fun place to bring your mom to catch breakfast. And we're next to a park.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's like kind of a holiday, so you never know if holidays are going to be busy, but sometimes they really are at the markets. Yeah. And, turns out moms love farmers markets. Who knew?
They do.
They do. I do.
I do. Yeah, I like it.
2 moms approve.
2 moms approve.
There's also a good point about vendors being ready is, depending on where you are, you've got to make sure when you're opening a new market that that's a season when your farmers can harvest a lot of things.
Yeah.
You don't want to open a new market in your very sparsest season because you want that first impression to be really good. So grand opening day, you want those stalls full, as pretty as possible, lots of things growing. And that means you have to give farmers some notice. We have people contact us and say, well, we'd like you to start a market in our neighborhood next month. It's like, well, actually, farmers have to grow things to add a market to their lineup.
Yeah.
Way more notice than that.
Exactly. And picking a great time of year, even in year-round areas, we have year-round markets, but we have never opened a new market in November or December because we just have, it's lots of root veggies and, lots of other things going on. People are distracted that we can't get robust vendor lists at that time of year. So really picking a spring, early summer for us here is just the best time to open a market. It's always worked out for us.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's a good point too. Say you have some vendors ready, but you don't have other vendors ready. That like us too, we're still adding new vendors on, and our market will continue to grow as it gets critical mass and kind of snowballs. We'll get more vendors interested. But if you don't have enough your first week and people do come out and it's a little too sparse and they think oh, well, that was cute, but it's not really enough for me to do all my grocery shopping, then unfortunately, first impressions really do stick. And so if you feel like you need a little bit more time to make sure you can get your berry farmer or, that really awesome prepared food vendor, make sure you just have enough for people on that first day because you want to knock their socks off so they come back.
Yeah. That's something we tell so many people. I have, again, people that approach me that haven't been in farmers market management or haven't been involved with this will say, well, we figured we could just start really small and then we'll grow from there. And I have to kind of explain, no, if you start too small, people are going to come out and see that. And then forever in their minds, it's going to take you years to unwind that first impression. That's a little teeny market.
Yeah. And we use that even with our markets that have been ongoing for years. When it's raining and vendors want to, say, oh, I can't come, it's raining. Someone's first time at the market might be on a rainy day or a drizzly day or whatever, cloudy day when everyone in San Diego likes to get back into bed. But their first impression is the impression that they take with them home and they tell their friends. So you have to really perform every time you have a market day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that first one's really important. And the first one's important because you'll get a lot of turnout if you've done all these things we're going to talk about and done it right. you got a lot of people there the first day and you want to make sure your first day looks great.
Yeah. So how do you get people to show up? Let's talk about some of the ways that you can promote your event to make sure that people are there on day one.
Well, it's actually a lot easier to get event coverage for day one because we talk about when there's a weekly event going on week after week. That's not news that you're open again. But when you're opening for the first
Breaking
time,
news. We're open
again.
52 weeks out of the year.
That's right.
Breaking news, it's Saturday.
We're back.
We're back. Back for more.
Right. But the TV stations and things, especially if you're going into a new area that you haven't been in before, they consider that news that you're opening a market. And a lot of times you can sort of pair it up with other things that are going on in that neighborhood. Why did you choose now to open a market in that neighborhood? What else is happening? Is the neighborhood undergoing a revitalization, or have more people move to the neighborhood, or has the business area, the heart of the community where the businesses are, has that changed in some way? So now's a good time for a market. So you have the opportunity to actually make that news.
Yeah.
So then you just start doing all the things that Justine and people like that, PR folks, do with press releases and lining up interviews and getting newspaper articles out there. We got a ton of broadcasts when we opened this particular market. A lot of TV stations were out. They usually come out a couple days before, so you need to round up a farmer or vendor to stand behind you so that you've got a pretty background that looks like a farmer's market, even though it's 3 days before you start. And then they come out and talk to you on the street, and it gets people really excited.
Yeah. So you can reach out to your local news. You can reach out to your newspaper, depending on what area you're in, or if you're partnering with a nonprofit or a BID or some sort of other organization to operate your market. They probably have media contacts too. So you can connect with them. Just get the word out. Using those kind of more traditional PR tools can be really helpful to make sure that, people turn on their TV and find out that there's a new farmer's market in their area.
Yep. And then you go back to some other sort of analog things, like we printed posters and put them in windows around.
And they were really cute. Somebody took a photo and tagged it on Instagram. And I was like, it was on just some corkboard community area. And I was like, oh, how fun.
Oh, that is
cute.
really fun. Yeah, they're cute. Actually, Bridget designed
My
those.
debut design. I made those posters.
I like
Our graphic designer actually was on vacation and on a boat.
On a
Why
boat.
would not respond.
I was like, oh boy.
Okay, drag out the Canva. Let's get it moving.
I made it. So, that's good because I'm not a graphic designer. So use Canva and make your own posters. If you're running on whatever your budget is, you can still make these promotional materials for your brand new market. You really can. Check out Canva.
Printing isn't expensive now.
Yeah, it's a really great, easy tool. We made door hangers, and I just went on Next Day Flyers and used their template on there. So you really, there's a lot of options. You don't have to have a huge marketing budget to kickstart your market. You can always do other stuff later when you have more money to play with and, redesign things and things like that. But just get it off the ground with some simple information. Make sure all of your information's on your materials, your day and your week. You can say grand opening. Make sure to put your handle on there for social media. Make sure to put your website so people know when and where and how to find you and who you are.
So pro tip, we did this time because I'm always trying to decide how many of these posters and flyers do I want to print that say grand opening, because the grand opening is sort of irrelevant by the next week. We're not opening anymore, but we still want those out there. So we printed a cute grand opening message on one side of the flyer and printed a general flyer / poster on the other side of the flyers and posters. So they're relevant that first day, then you flip them right around and they're relevant for months to come.
Yeah. And I thought it was smart too to say grand opening. And Kat and I had this discussion because the neighborhood that we went into, they had a farmer's market there years ago, I think 2017. It went on for a long time.
In 2017, but they've been there for 20 years before.
Yeah. I used to go there all the time as a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It has just been a longstanding part of that community, but the manager retired and no one took his place. And so they just haven't had a market. And so what I wanted to do was make sure that people knew that those weren't old posters from 2017. Because sometimes people will say, oh, that market's not even open anymore if they see it. So I think adding grand opening, if you're coming back into a neighborhood, or if you want to really distinguish yourself as something that's new that's happening, grand opening can be helpful for that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it kind of let them know that we were something different. We just still had a lot of people on the day that said, oh, I'm glad you're back. It's okay.
Okay.
All right. Me too.
Glad to be here.
As long as they're not saying, oh, we hated that market. Get out of here.
You again?
Yeah. They're saying they're glad, then just say, okay.
That was me.
Take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yes. You're welcome.
Did you love the old market? Yeah, that was me.
Just took a little break. Come back.
Yeah. So you also did, or we also did a lot of promotion on social media.
Tons of social media.
Still doing that. Just
still
hitting
doing
that so hard.
Grinding away.
Yeah.
And we used a market account that's already established, that's sort of an umbrella for all of our markets. So it has a ton of followers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we tagged back and forth with the new account for that particular market, linked each other, kept rerunning each other's posts. So we got the very localized reach and that account has been building pretty quickly, our new Instagrams and Facebooks. But we also tied it in with older established accounts. So we had a really big reach. And then we tied in with in our case, Third Avenue Village Association. They paired up with us and they did a lot of reposting of our posts.
Yeah.
So if you can find some folks to do kind of that marketing partnership with you, it'll help.
Yeah.
For
And if
sure.
you're starting like a brand spanking new market, I understand how that might be kind of like, well, how do I have photos if the market hasn't happened before? So luckily for our case, we have other markets that we can use photos of vendors from. But if you're starting from scratch, you haven't had a market at all before, you can use photos of vendors from other markets. Just maybe like crop them or just make sure that it's not obviously a completely different neighborhood. But repurposing some of those photos was really helpful for us. You don't want to launch a market and have nothing on your Instagram page because you want people to know there are going to be vendors. You want them to be able to see what that food looks like. You want them to see how fresh those veggies are. So, for the first little bit leading up to your market, before you have the opportunity to take photos at your market, you might kind of have to beg, steal, and borrow some photos. You might even ask your vendors, hey, do you have a photo I can share? Or you can source them online.
We did a lot of looking at our farmers and vendors sites because many of them are in other markets already. So we looked at their Instagram and we would pick out a good picture that wasn't too obvious about where it was and say, do you mind if we repost that? And that way we were really able to populate our accounts.
Yeah. And you can always take a picture of your poster or do a meet the market manager. I mean, there's a lot of content that isn't just pictures of the market. So make sure you're showing pictures of what your market's going to offer by using pictures from your farmers and vendors. And then also, integrating other content in there just to kind of beef up your page and have, 10 to 12 posts before your grand opening day.
Yeah, you could take photos of you and your market team walking around handing out flyers or meeting other business owners in the area. Maybe you get a cup of coffee at the coffee shop that's next to your market and say, oh, we're so glad to have this new neighbor or whatever.
That's such a good idea.
So, and make sure you tag them.
Yeah.
And then you're building that relationship with your business neighbors.
Yeah, I did a lot of that when we moved to market, was just kind of go to all the shops that were going to be on the street where our market was going to move to. And I had dinner there. I went to a yoga class at the studio, took my kids shopping at the kids store right there and just tagged the market and said, oh, I'm so excited to have this store or shop as my new market neighbor. We're moving the market here on this day. So just building that community where your market's going to land, whether it's new or you're moving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just in general, if you're staying in the same spot too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also getting the word out, kind of related to social media and community outreach. If there's any like Facebook groups in your area that's like Richmond community members or whatever, wherever your market is, you might find those groups and just drop a line. And I know you don't want to get too salesy or too solicitous, but you might say like, hey, we're starting a new farmers market in the area. We'd love to see you. Come say hi, drop by the info booth and say hello in person. And just making those connections online can be really helpful for people to learn about you and also just building that trust too.
Yeah. So then they know that someone's behind it and it's not just some city group or something dropping a market in and then leaving.
Makes that personal relationship.
So someone behind it. Go on your next door group or, other neighborhood kind of online community groups and just poke your head in and say, hey, it's me.
It's great to join those kind of groups too, because even if you're not posting and inviting people, because that feels salesy at the time, when other people start talking about it, it's handy for you to be there to answer questions.
Oh, yeah.
Clarify other people's very confident wrong answers.
Yeah, if someone's like, I love the Third Avenue Village Market. It's my favorite place to bring my dog. You can just chime in and be like, actually, please don't bring your
dog. Do you?
We often have people post in those groups, oh, they're open from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. And clearly they just read the no parking sign on the street and that's the street closure time. So I'll pop in and say, oh, yeah, you know what? We're open from 2 to 7. come join us every Tuesday or whatever it may be. So being on there for clarification purposes is really important. And we still do that with all the neighborhoods that we're in. So
Absolutely.
definitely for the grand opening, because you want to make sure that information's super correct from the get-go.
Yeah. All right. So obviously there's endless amounts of things that you can do before the day of, and we won't belabor that because if you've run a market before, you know that is the truth. But let's talk about some like day of like on-site stuff that market managers are dealing with when they're launching a brand new market.
So we get there super early.
Extra early.
Measure to make sure that we've got the right spaces and placement. And we do our maps really early before. But the day of, we get there really early. We set up our barricades. We sometimes at a market that's been around for a long time, we'll be there for a couple hours in the morning setting things up and pointing vendors to the right spot. And then we put up our info booth. Well, at a new market, we do that really early. Like the minute we land on site, we pop up our
that's really
info
smart.
tent so that new vendors and farmers arriving know where to find us and ask questions.
Yeah.
So that's really important. We tell our vendors ahead of time to show up really early so that they can make sure to get settled into their new spot. And if there's any confusion about where they are, we can resolve that. We send them load in and load out instructions. And depending on your site, you know, you may need to stage them and say, okay, everybody in this section of the market needs to come in first, and then everybody in that section, because you get to a situation where you can't fit cars like we can at this market. Tell them to bring enough product, and I'm going to admit that I did tell people this. Tell them again. And again and again and again.
Should have told them 10 times. We only told them 9 times.
I think that was kind of it. They got a little... They made some decisions about, it's going to be Mother's Day, and so it's not going to be that busy on the first day of the market. And we were just mobbed, and we had a couple bakers that, ran out an hour into the market, which was terrible. But
not a great first
Well,
impression.
now they know. They had the burn of knowing that they could have made a lot more money.
That's right.
And they'll remember now, because there's nothing like that first time where you're like, I could have made 6 times this.
Yeah,
you see all the shoppers and your boxes are sitting there empty.
Yeah.
That's something that sticks with
So
you.
that was bad. So be sure and tell them. Because the typical pattern with a new market is you will be insane. If you've done any of your prep work, you will be insanely busy the first day. People are excited. They want to come out and see what's happening. Now, it is a normal pattern that it will then drop down, and you'll have to gradually build up to that regular customer base that comes out over and over and over again. But even a market that's not going to be very busy the first few months and is going to take a while to build will probably be really busy the first day. People want to check out the newest thing.
Yeah, for sure. They want to be there first.
Yeah.
And usually, we did some like seed packet and shopping bag giveaways, which is also something really great to do on your first day. People want that stuff. So they're coming out. That first day is like your big day to shine. So make sure that you and your vendors and farmers are prepared for that.
Are all ready for it. Yep.
Yeah. You also want to make sure your staff is ready. That's a really great idea about popping the info booth first thing. And then you also want to make sure, especially if you have new staff or just in general, that like everybody has their FAQs ready to go. Like, hey, is this farmer going to be here? Or, hey, where can I find this? Just making sure that they're really familiar with the area and they know what vendors are going to be there.
Yeah, we sent out a packet for our new staffers that had a list of each farmer and vendor and a short description of what they sell so they could tell people, point them in the right direction. We put on that list, made sure that they were all super aware of what time the market is, what day it is, how to get there. If people called for directions, they knew how to tell them which street to turn on. They knew how to tell people where to park.
Yeah, where's the bathroom?
Yeah, where's the restroom? So
logistical things.
Yeah.
And like, can I bring my dog? Or are you open rain or shine? Are you open year round? Just kind of basic stuff. And then I know it's really helpful too, especially like we didn't start out with a coffee vendor. And although we know we're going to bring one in, it's nice to like, if there's a coffee shop close by and people are like, hey, do you have coffee here? And you can be like, no, but there's this great shop that's on the corner. And then those shoppers go to the coffee shop and they say, hey, the farmer's market is like helping connect.
We actually destroyed a small coffee house across the street from
They're
us.
like, we love you, but also
They're like, stop telling people to come here.
Yeah, they were so busy. They just could not cope.
Oh my gosh. Well, everyone had a busy day.
Everyone had a busy day.
But they'll remember that.
Happy.
The businesses around there remember that. If they have shoppers coming in and saying, oh, the farmer's market staff told me to come check you guys out, that will make sometimes like close by businesses will get a little like, oh, what is this going to do to my business?
Yeah.
You want to start that relationship off positive and strong from the first day.
Right.
So doing things like that can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that'll affect your relationship with your market neighbors from now on.
That's right.
So they're
Ongoing.
going to
So
be
it's great.
there. Yeah.
We're real big on uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Not heavy duty, just a T-shirt that's got the logo on it. It was chilly the morning that we were opening, so we actually, and through this last winter, we've had some really chilly mornings, so we got lightweight windbreakers that have the logo on them and say Market Staff on the back, so even when people are cold, they're not hiding their uniform shirt. So everybody had uniforms, name tags. It was really easy to spot who was working for the market and ask questions, which was good because we got hit really hard with a lot of onlookers as we were setting up the market. They again, read the street closure signs, and many of them guessed that we were open at 7 instead of at 10. So they all came out. And so it was helpful for our staff to be really, really visible to the vendors and farmers pulling in.
Yeah. And also you just want to have your staff, like, as somebody that works in the info booth, sometimes I'm tired and I just want to sit there and zone out until I have to process somebody's EBT card. But it's so important, like, to be on your A game, especially at a brand new market, and be smiling, be standing up, be ready to answer somebody's question or ask them if they have a question or thank them for shopping. And just like that face-to-face interaction can be what brings them back the second and the third
Absolutely.
and the so and so on week. So just making sure your staff is not only informed, but also friendly, and just thanking people for coming out and thanking for them for shopping.
We have a big Spanish-speaking population in this neighborhood that we just opened in, and both of our new staffers are bilingual Spanish, which was really, really helpful.
So
Yeah, really important too. Just to engage with the community in every way that you can, for sure.
It was great. So we were engaging people at the market. We were welcoming them. We were thanking them for coming, incredibly, to an extent that I have possibly never seen at a market. We had so many people come up and thank us for being there. Say, thank you for bringing the market back. And we had our staff entirely trained to consistently say, when people said, is this going to be here from now on? To say, as long as you keep shopping, we'll be here. So we were getting the message across that as long as you came out and supported the farmers market, we were going to be here, rain or shine, every single Sunday.
And a neighborhood like that may be more inclined to really dedicate themselves to coming to shop because they've had a great market that they loved that left.
Right.
Yeah, they've learned.
Exactly.
They learned the hard way. So I think that kind of response is fantastic for staff to know what to say. And just at any market. Yeah, we'll be here as long as you keep shopping here. That's the deal. So
And they seemed to take it to heart. They heard it. We did a bunch of freebies, and we had posted that on our Instagram, and one of the TV spots had actually mentioned it. I carried tote bags with me to that TV spot and handed them to the TV moderators and things. And so they knew that the first 300 people out would get a free tote bag. We, in fact, gave out 400 some free tote bags. But I think it has the logo of the market on it. They were cute little bags. They were inexpensive bags, but it had a cute design on it. They were
bright color.
They're bright. They're really pretty. It's a great marketing tool.
It is.
A shopping bag. If you can afford to print even a cheap shopping bag, it helps people buy more stuff at your market. It really does. They'll buy more if they have a way to carry it around. So that helps your vendors and farmers. And B, they're going to carry it around all over town, and the people are going to say, what's that? I didn't know that there was a market here. Or I didn't know that market came back. And then it sparks that conversation, like word of mouth marketing from somebody who has been to the market.
Right.
That's your best person to talk about your market. Yeah.
So we've reprinted bags because we actually had people come on Instagram and say, I missed getting a bag. Are you going to sell those bags? So we are going to start selling them for a fairly inexpensive price to keep that moving. It was Mother's Day, so we ordered seed packets. I've got a great source for seed packets. If anybody's interested, they're awesome. Sign them up as a sponsor. And the seed packet said "Grow with us," and then we had a little sticker that we put on there that showed that where it was from. It's a butterfly mix. So who doesn't want to grow pretty flowers and attract butterflies? And then the stickers that we were using to stick on those seed packets, little kids loved them. So we gave out a lot of stickers as well.
That's fun.
Kids can be your greatest marketing tool as well.
Absolutely.
Just give them a sticker. They'll slap that on. They'll walk around. Yeah, but on their forehead. They're not afraid.
That's great. And we talked about this a little while ago, but, gearing up, you want to make sure that your social media is activated, that you're tagging people, that you're posting photos. But that's also really important on day of. And I know as a market manager, you're probably running like a chicken with your head cut off, doing a million things. But if you can't, try to have somebody, and if possible, an on-site person, but if it has to be a remote person, that's fine. Have somebody be watching your social media all day long, because you're going to get a lot of questions there. Like, where do I park? What time are you open? What time do you close? Is this vendor there? Blah, blah, blah. And you're going to get a lot of FAQs coming in on there. Then also people are going to be sharing great stories and tagging you in posts. And you really want to make sure that you're engaging with that to keep the conversation going. And also to capture some of that excitement and to show the people that weren't able to make it to the first week that they should come the second week and the third week and so on.
Definitely.
Yeah. And everyone's sharing just share those tagged stories and things too. I think that was helpful for our market. It always is too when our vendors and farmers share their information, then we can just reshare it because they get great crowd shots and things like that. And just things that are happening at their booth that you might not see because you're running around the market. And so they have those personal stories of like, oh, like, you know, I've known this shopper for a long time. She came down here to check out the new market, or just those little stories just make it a little more personal.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
All right. So what can you do to not only make your grand opening a success, but to make the second, third week and the third week and the fourth week a continued success?
The first thing to remember is to make sure to make your second and third and fourth week a success. I think a lot of markets get real excited about opening day and then they're just like, oh, it'll be busy now from now on. And you get a little complacent. And I will say sometimes I'm guilty of that, but you have to remember.
Yeah, because it's really
at
not.
it.
Because the common pattern is that you dip
Yep.
on that second week because you don't have all those TV broadcasts going out. You don't have the things in the newspaper. But what you can do is, as much as possible, pick up those links from the stories that have been on TV and put them on your own social media and encourage your vendors to repost them. We usually bring out vendors and farmers to be in those shots, and then they get really excited about reposting them on their social media, which is helpful. We'll keep promoting it via traditional PR. We'll keep trying to find new twists to send it out. We've sent out a bunch of follow-up stories about how excited the market or the neighborhood was to have a market back. And so we've got some media picking that up that didn't pick it up initially. You may have to, on that second round, give in and pay for some advertising. And that's okay. When you're trying to keep that momentum going, you can do that. And then you start creating other things that are new. So you can add a chef's demo, or you can add a kids activity, or we've got a sponsor that's coming in on week 3 that has a really funny little 3-wheeled electric car that's going to come in, and I think they're going to be really visible and real fun to drive around in. So it gives us something else to talk about news-wise. We're going to talk about energy-efficient vehicles and how that ties in with the whole eco-conscious thing that happens when you shop at farmers markets.
Yeah. And you could also, communicate with your vendors and maybe kind of, you have to like gauge and, kind of maybe help them shift their expectations of what that second and third and fourth week is going to be. And, make sure they have enough product, but also today you need to be promoting this on your end too. And you need to be, have you told everybody that you're at a new market? Are you putting this in your email and newsletters? Are you posting on social media? Are you telling your shoppers at other markets that they can also find you here? And just making sure that you as the market manager, the market organizer, aren't doing all the heavy lifting of promotion. You really need the help of all your vendors participating to help get the word out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we held actually most of our door hangers until this week. So now we're blanketing the area around the market and kind of gridding it out to areas a little bit farther out because people just need a reminder now. They saw so much on TV last week. Now they need a reminder that clicks them back to that. So doing a lot of hands-on kind of marketing. And then, of course, announcing the new vendors that are coming in. So we had a number of people say, I wish you had coffee. Well, we've got a coffee vendor this week. So we're promoting that a lot and running pretty pictures of her little pink coffee trailer. Keeping the momentum going is tricky. It's almost a bigger challenge than getting the excitement of opening day, but it takes just as much attention because you really want people to keep coming back. And after a few weeks, they'll have the habit and you'll be in good shape if you can keep them coming through that first through 6th week, then they get settled.
Yeah. And just keeping those, just having the conversations with your vendors and farmers too. If things kind of slow down a little bit, make sure you're saying, hey, I know that things are like slowing down a little bit. This is always how it goes. It's real big that first day, big boom, dips a little bit, and then we're going to just slowly grow back. And then we're going to be busier than that first day on a regular basis once this market's like at its peak. So just, just so we know, like we know that that's going to happen. We want you to know that that's going to happen. This isn't weird that it kind of dipped down. So just kind of having those conversations so people don't get freaked out. If you're pretending like it's not slower after your opening day, people are going to think like, where is this market going? Is it just going to keep going down? And you just have to lift them up. And if it's your brand new market and you've never run a market before, you can say, well, I listened to the Farmers Market Pros and they told me that this is what happened.
Listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Or if you've run a market before, you can say, hey, I've had this experience with other markets. So this is how it goes. So kind of build that trust somehow with the people that are participating in your market and make sure everyone's on the same page about it.
And we tell this to our vendors all the time is it takes a while. Like it takes a neighborhood a little while to build that trust.
For sure.
Because as many people that are excited for something brand new and they want to be there on the new day, there are some people, there's either those people or there's people that are kind of just haters and just want to hate on your market because it's a new thing, or just like, oh, we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah,
but
we'll see
you know,
about that.
once you're there for a little while,
They'll come around.
they'll come around and they'll love it. So you kind of just, there is this little incubation phase where you just have to stick to it and just show people, I'm going to be here. This market is part of the community now, and it's going to thrive, and come join us.
Yeah, and lift those positive voices, those shoppers that do come out the first day and then continue to come every week. You'll have that group of shoppers and they're super excited. So just like lift all their comments up, make sure that you're communicating with them and thanking them for coming every week. And that'll help build you up to where you want to be.
Yeah, you can ask them to write you a Yelp review or a Google My Business review. You could even put like a little QR code at your info booth, and that person that stopped by and said, thank you so much, I'm so glad the market's here, say, thank you so much. And will you please show your thanks by giving us a good review?
Yeah, we'd like everybody. We'd like to still be here for you. In order for us to do that, we need more people to be shopping here than just you. So please get the word out so that more people shop. And people are usually more than happy to do that. Once you kind of just have that conversation with them, it clicks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, where people ask us specifically, what can we do to help the market? And they're thinking more about being volunteers that put barricades into place. We've got that down.
Yeah.
What we usually say is, hey, would you mind taking this poster and putting it up in the laundry room of your apartment complex? Or wouldn't it be fun to take these door hangers and walk around and hang them just on your block?
Yeah.
So fun.
We've had people take a little stack of flyers from our markets, new and old, because they're just so excited about it. And it's like, oh, how can we help? And it's like, could I take some of these flyers back to wherever? Is it? Yeah, please. So have those available for them. Have something for people to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can direct them. All
All
right.
right. So that's how you get it rolling. And I know you're going to be tired after that first day, but keep it going.
Keep it going.
Because it's a fun tired.
Yeah.
We're telling you it's going to get busy and better.
Yeah. Take a nap and then start planning the next one.
Start planning the next.
Right.
That's right.
And congratulations.
Thanks for listening to Tent Talk today. For more information and actionable tips on using the right tools to bring people to your tents, sign up today for our new online course, Marketing for Markets. Save time and get results today when you click Marketing for Markets on the online education page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Thanks for listening to Tent Talk today. Please leave us a review on your podcast app or wherever you listen to Tent Talk. Let us and others know how you're enjoying the podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Tent Talk. Connect with fellow Farmers Market folks in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community, and follow us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros. Find online education and other resources at farmersmarketpros.com. Tent Talk is brought to you by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Tent Talk is hosted by Kat Fields White and Bridget Myers and produced by Leandra Hayes, with original music by David Mead. Tune in next week for another great episode.